man, this is it. Like, you have to deal with this for the rest of your life. And you're never going to see your brother again. Just accept it. Like, he's gone. And you now have a new reality that you have to deal with.
Welcome to Dead Talks. This is your host, David Ferrugio, and this is a podcast where we discuss death, life, and everything in between. We make an uncomfortable conversation a little easier with storytelling, insights, and believe it or not, plenty of laughs. My guest today is my brother from another mother and one of my favorite people to talk to on or off my podcast. His name is Dan Hahn, and he truly has a knack for telling it like it is. And in this episode, he really drew me into this powerful story of his brother who died almost 20 years ago while Dan was only in high school. Though the conversation stems from his death, we allude to many other conversations of life along the way. I won't give away any more details, but it was a great dialogue that I'm sure you're going to enjoy because I know that I did. Thanks again so much for tuning in, and please, let's enjoy some Dead Talks. Because I'm laughing. Yeah? Why are you nervous?
Of course. I don't know, dude. I'm freaking being videotaped. You think I like that?
I think you look great.
Not even about the way I look. I've done, like, TV shows.
You've done TV shows?
Yeah, as, like, a bartender. You know, like Basketball Wives and, like, all these stupid reality shows will come in and, like, I'll be the guy who has to, like, sit there and make them drinks while they talk.
Are you uncomfortable?
Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. Like, I tell them, too. I'm like, just so you guys know. They're like, don't worry. You're not going to be in the show. Like, and I'm like, all right, good.
They're not going to be in the show, but we're going to record
Like, you'll see me in the background, kind of like... But you won't hear me or anything. It's so random. But like I just feel uncomfortable the whole time. 2 huge cameras on me.
These are 2 tiny cameras and it's not live, so you'll be all right.
Yeah.
I guess we might be starting right here, guys. Welcome to Dead Talks. This is your host, David Ferrugio, with another episode. I have none other than Daniel Hahn. Does anyone call you Daniel?
My mom calls me Daniel.
Okay, I'll call you Dan.
I think my dad... No, my dad has nicknames for me. Yeah, I don't know. Just my mom, I think.
Okay,
maybe my grandma.
Well, Daniel, we have Daniel Hahn here today who's going to share, I think, one story. I don't know where it's going to go. He's going to speak about his brother today, and that's about it. Dan, what's up, man?
How's it going?
It's going, brother. So, I mean, tell me about your brother. Tell me wherever you want to start, and we'll go from there.
All right, well, we could do a bring it back to childhood type of story.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, my brother passed away when I was in high school. The middle of 10th grade year, and I was just like out and about with a good friend of mine. We were actually at the movie theater, and I think we were picking up some trees.
Okay.
And
not a Christmas tree.
No, and I'm pretty sure it was Jared Sirkin, to be honest with you. I really don't remember it specifically, but I think I was with him. We were at the movie theater, like in the parking lot, waiting to meet up with someone, and he got a call on his cell phone. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I was like the poor kid.
What year is this?
This is 2002. Okay. So it's like 18 years ago now. I didn't have a cell phone. Jared had a cell phone, and someone called him and was like, oh, you know, he's like, someone's on the phone for you. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. Like, people don't usually call me on other people's cell phones.
Yeah.
And I take the phone, like, and it's my next door neighbor's mom. So a little backstory, my next door neighbor, my next door neighbor, Jesse, who I grew up with my whole life, he moved in when I was like 1 year old, and we just grew up together our whole lives. Like, he was my other sibling. Like, we spent every day together in the neighborhood, whatever. So his mom was on the phone calling my friend who I was at the movie theater with randomly. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, what's going on? She's like, where are you? Like,
buying trees.
Yeah, like, I'm at Magnolia movie theater. Like, what's going on? Don't go anywhere. I'm sending Jesse to come pick you up. I'm like, what? Can you tell me what's going on? Like, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what do you mean? She's like, don't go anywhere. He's coming to pick you up. I'm like, oh, okay. I hang up the phone, give it to Jared. I'm like, this is the situation. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. He was just like, all right, cool, man. Like, I'll wait with you or something. I don't really remember. So my friend comes, picks me up. It's the kid I grew up with my whole life, my best friend. And I look at him, I'm like, dude, what the fuck's going on, man? Like, what's happening? He's just, I can't talk to you. I'll wait. You gotta wait till you get home. I'm just like, I knew. I mean, I must have just known. I was just like, this is something's wrong. And I didn't say anything. Like, the whole car, I didn't try to like pry it out of him or anything. We just drove all the way home. It's probably like a 15-minute drive, and he parks in his driveway. We walk like through his yard, and I remember getting to my driveway, and there was like a lot of cars in the driveway, like an abnormal amount of cars, maybe like 5 or 6 cars. I was like, oh fuck, this isn't good. And I think I saw my dad like kind of like walking into the house, and he didn't even look at me. So I was like, oh Jesus. And then when I got inside, there was like people there, like friends of my family, blah blah blah. My mom was like screaming on the floor, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And someone, I think my dad or someone was like, yeah, your brother passed away today.
What happened?
How did he pass away?
Yeah.
Overdose. He was like the night before. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if interesting is the word, but my brother was 24 at the time when he passed away. The year prior to that, he had lived on his own, done really well for himself, selling, like, he was like a, what's the word when you're like on the phone selling, like a telemarketer type of guy. But like he was doing really well for himself. Everything was good, making a lot of money. And then all of a sudden, the economy crashed a little bit. I think it was the stock market bubble or something. And his job just like, he totally lost his job. So he had to come and move back home, which is like very deflating for him at the time. You know, he was like the 24-year-old kid, he was doing really well for himself. And he has to move back home after being out of the house for 3-4 years. And so he moves in. Literally the day he moved in, he goes out, parties with all of his friends like he would normally do. And he fucking must have been doing Vicodin, Xanax, all this other shit. Was at a strip club, like, you know, just stayed out all night. And at the end of the night, he went to his friend's house. And I think he did some sort of heroin, either shot it up or snorted it. And that was it.
Did he have a history of that, or was it just like an abrupt thing?
So we found out later on that it was, he probably had a history of it. Like a lot of his friends after he passed away had started passing away. Like a lot of people in his circle all of a sudden were now dying. And then it was like, wait, they're dying of like heroin? Like they're injecting it? Like, so we never really like dug deep to really find out, you know, if he was injecting it, because at that point, who gives a fuck? But yeah, I mean, I think he was like at least doing it for 5 months, 6 months, a year. But I mean, everyone in South Florida was doing that. And to this day, still, a lot of them are like doing these prescription drugs, you know, Oxycontins, all that stuff.
The opioid thing is, for a while, I thought it was like, because my town's a similar thing. And I realized just these like suburban, you grew up in like a suburban town?
For sure, yeah, 100%.
Oh, it seems to be a consistency with those towns where it's like,
very much so.
You don't get out type shit.
Yeah, it's weird how it's kind of attracted to that area. But yeah.
Why is that? Is this nothing to do there?
I think it's a combination of nothing to do, and it's very party centric. Like people just want to get fucked up.
Yeah.
And I think there is a weird, like, you know, they'd say weed is the gateway drug, which I don't agree with that. But like drugs in general, like I just feel like if you keep graduating, unfortunately, if you graduate enough, you'll get to something that, you know, can really ruin your life or kill you.
So do you still remember that day? Because I know you brought us up to the point where you saw your mom, your dad, and then someone told you. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember after being told that, I literally was just like, okay. Went to the couch in the living room, sat down, turned on TV, put on HBO. HBO boxing was on. Pretty sure it was a Saturday night when it happened. It was like HBO boxing Saturday night. I literally just sat there with my next door neighbor best friend, and I mean, I just fucking was like very internal. I was like, man, this is it. Like, you have to deal with this for the rest of your life, and you're never gonna see your brother again. Just accept it. Like, he's gone, and you now have a new reality that you have to deal with.
Was that a switch you on that couch in that moment?
Yeah. It was really like kind of like I just sat there and just reflected on what was happening.
Did you cry? Did you cry? Did you cry?
No, not in that moment. No,
right.
I did not. I didn't have like emotions.
I mean, I guess this is different per person, but what do you attribute that realization to take it like that? Because I mean, everyone reacted differently. So maybe it's just, you just chalk it up to that. But
I think it was my version of survival. That was like how I could survive a traumatic experience by making it like pragmatic, I guess. Is that the word? It just kind of, life happens. This happened. You have to fucking deal with it.
Is that how you operate normally, to put not when it's death? Just,
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was something I had instilled in me before it happened, or if it's something that like a switch turned on and now that's why I handle a lot of things. But yeah, for sure.
What about your parents? How'd they handle it? Or not, you don't have to get too deep with that, but
yeah,
I mean, what was there? And I guess obviously your mom was in a commotion, which is understandable. But
yeah, my parents definitely handled it differently for sure.
Yeah.
My mom never really got out of that just tornado of, depression and emotion. And
Oldest son?
well, so my mom has had 3 sons. Her first son was from a different father, and then me and my brother were from the same father. So he was the oldest full brother, but I have a half brother who I consider, I'm really close with.
I always heard, I'm not put on a hierarchy of death and what hits you more, but losing a child before you go has got to be one of the tougher ones. So what kind of dialogue do you and your parents have, or like since then or at that time? Was it something that you kind of just shut the door and moved forward? Like how you handled it?
No, actually, my parents were very open to talking about him and just things in general, which they've always been like that as parents. Like you could talk to my mom and dad about anything.
And did you, in regards to this?
Yeah, from time to time.
You said you internalized it, so I wonder if that carried through.
We talked about it, but it's like one of those things. Like I don't know, you just like, what do you talk about? It's like weird because you have certain conversations, but then like there's almost like you start to like, I don't know,
redundant.
Yeah, redundant, exactly.
So you never felt like anything? Because my initial thought when I hear someone say they internalize it like I did, I wonder how much I would bury something. But I wonder, you ever consider that being any kind of factor or residual from it, or you just,
for sure.
Do you know what it is?
For sure. Do I know?
So I don't mind laughing, but
no, I have my theories, but yeah, definitely. Like I definitely think it's affected me in like relationships with girlfriends and kind of even relationships with like friends in life. Like I don't know, like it's definitely had an effect on me for sure. And yeah, the way I handled it that day, I think it's followed me throughout my life. I definitely want to like work that stuff out, and see.
What's that stuff?
Well, just see a therapist and see if there is something that needs to be kind of, massaged out of me. Like, you carry these emotions with you, and it's, I don't know, it can have a negative effect.
So in your opinion, when you're carrying these emotions, is that emotions that you haven't let go?
Yeah, probably.
So you think it's just just a ball on you or some shit?
Yeah, kind of. So it feels like there's like this weight inside me that I never like let go. But
why do you think it's like just survival?
Yeah, survival. Well, yeah, if you put up these walls, it's a lot easier to just, not deal
just
with
keep it within,
pain, the trauma, Yeah,
that's the weird part, because there is that defense mechanism to protect. It's so weird because now that you said it like that, it made me think. It's like when you do build these walls around, a specific encapsulated moment or emotion that's traumatic, it acts as if a defense mechanism or survival, which makes sense.
For sure.
But then the effect that defense mechanism has for encapsulating that moment has residual effect that it can't be good.
They're usually negative, yeah. They're usually negative, for sure.
So that's the ironic part. It's like, if it's a defense mechanism to protect you from that, then how is it truly a method of survival if it's affecting us in the long term?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Why do we
do anything?
Why do we let any trauma at an early age, or in your teens or young, just kind of stay with us for the rest of our lives? Like a real the real defense mechanism should be to just like let it go, and like it literally does nothing to you, right? Like, oh, my dad was an abusive parent, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like that would be the best way to get over it.
Yeah, I think the answer to do that is to be a complete sociopath, probably. But
unfortunately, it's just not how nature works for whatever reason. It's weird.
So have you put thought on, like, we obviously spoke about a therapist as one manner.
For sure.
But is this something that's been lingering? It's been 18 years? Sorry?
Yeah, 18 years.
So is this something that you've had in your mind in regards? Because it seems to be very aware of whatever these theories are. Do you have, like, you want to share some theories?
Yeah. I'm just thinking.
Because of relationships, friends, like, what does that mean? How do you see it mean? Because it could mean anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw a therapist right afterwards, did nothing for me because I was so fucking closed off.
Yeah.
And I was in high school. Like, the last thing I wanted to do was talk to someone about my emotions.
What do they try to, I'm curious, do you remember what kind of shit she would answer?
I do not at all.
Yeah.
Like, I literally remember the lady's office, and that's it. Like, I don't remember what she looked like. I don't remember what we talked about. And I don't think I went very often. So it was like, maybe I went 6 or 7 times or something.
Yeah, it's such as life there. If you're not willing to, if you're not decisive to do something yourself, you're not.
Yeah, my parents didn't have any money, so it wasn't like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, they weren't going to just send me to a therapist.
Yeah.
And no, I don't know. But
Theories.
yeah. And then yeah, I mean, later in life, just like being in relationships with certain people, like I sometimes wonder, like, am I not falling in love with this person because I'm not capable of it, because of the walls I've put up, because of the trauma I've gone through, the things I've seen with, you know, my brother passing away, how it affected my parents, how that affected our relationship. And it's like, fuck, I don't know. Or maybe I just didn't meet the right girl. I don't know.
I think about that all the time. I think about that all the time in regards to my relationships too, and that was brought to life from someone else. So the weird part is I never correlated the death of my dad with my romantic relationships. But from all people I speak to, it seems could be a very heavy, it's just loss in general, I guess. And
I would imagine, I mean, I don't know anything about therapy, but like I would imagine that like 99% of therapists would say like the loss of a significant person in your childhood or even later in life just has to affect your relationships going forward. Like I just can't imagine, especially a father, a mother, a sibling, like I just can't imagine how it doesn't. Like how does it not affect your relationships going forward? You know,
I mean, relationships in life, I guess, but it's just interesting. Like when you build these walls and almost like somebody just kind of like, that's it. You just blocked it out.
I think so. Yeah.
Do you remember the next coming months or like anything after, or is it kind of a blackout as well?
In terms of like,
just in general, like
they were terrible. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to remember.
Wait, what was terrible?
The months afterwards. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if I really had to dig deep, I mean, it was terrible because I wasn't just dealing with the loss of my brother. I was dealing with a mother who had lost her son. And that in itself was probably almost worse in a way. I mean, obviously it's not worse because I would choose having my brother, but yeah, that was like insane. Like it was literally insane.
Yeah, she took it the hardest?
Yeah, by far. My dad, honestly, like I feel like I don't want to speak for him, but like I feel like he handled it like how I handled it. And I think I get that from him, you know, that kind of like just roll with the punches type of lifestyle.
How do you communicate with someone that has handled a situation so devastatingly, understandably? So the fucking mother of a child, like I get it.
You can't. It's impossible to communicate with them.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Literally. You cannot understand what they're going through. And you can't reason with them. There's no reasoning. They've lost a child. It's over. Like nothing else matters anymore. You know, when someone's that deep in it, like my mom was, she was lost. She was gone. I mean, it's taken her years to even get to like, you know, where she is now. I mean, it's been 18 years, but if I had to guess, she probably still cries every day. If I had to guess, for sure. But I know she definitely did for a long time. And like, how could I?
Yeah, what do you say?
Like, yeah, I mean, you'll be okay. Like, time will heal.
Yeah, it comes back to what you said earlier about, I mean, you know, how many times can you say the same thing?
Also, like, I have my life ahead of me. Like, I'm a 15-year-old kid who lost his brother. Yes, it's fucking terrible and devastating. Like, I wanted to grow up with my brother for the rest of my life and, you know, whatever, weddings, kids, whatever, nephew, whatever. But, like, I can't tell my mom that. Like, it's her fucking kid. Like, that's it. That's all that matters. Like, I have the rest of my life ahead of me. I could have kids. I could have a family. Like, my brother's my past. That's not my mom's past. Till this day, I would imagine. It's still her present. You know what I mean? Like, I wake up and I don't think about him to this day. Like, there's times where I'm just like, oh, shit, I haven't thought about David. And, you know, I can't remember the last time I thought about him. There's 0% chance my parents don't think about him every day.
Yeah.
You know? So there's just there's a different level to the trauma, I would say. But yeah, I mean, being around her was tough for sure, and she would be like devastated. Probably that, you know, I know she feels devastated that I was around her, but it is
devastated that you were or weren't.
That I was around her because she feels like, you know, it had a negative effect on me, which it did. But what is she supposed to do? You know?
Yeah, it's such a compounded effect because often when I have these discussions, I only think of, you know, how did the death of so and so affect you, but then there's so much more to that they bring into light that it affects, because the death of a loved one like that is obviously not just one person. It's the family, it's the friends, it's so much around that. So it's interesting to think how much besides the death, like seeing your own mother just brokenhearted is something, was one of the worst things. Like, it came out once again, making a hierarchy of which feels worse, but
Yeah.
that's like an in your face daily effect, as opposed to, your brother died, you kind of severed it for better or for worse. I mean,
Right.
that's a tough way. That's a very strong way to handle something. That's kind of how I feel like I handle things. And I learned off my mom, was just kind of like, okay, this happened. What is it going to do by dwelling on it?
Right.
Besides make you more sad. So that the compounded effect of seeing your mother like that, I'm not going to go all Freudian on you, but that I can see almost, affecting the whole mother-son thing.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like that affecting a relationship. But you say in regards to your relationships, because you also said friends too, is like a commitment thing, or what do you mean?
No, honestly, I haven't really dug deep into that. But I do find like I sometimes, I don't know, like it's weird. Like I'll look up to people in relationships, and and I'm like, why am I looking up to like certain friends or whatever, people I work with? I don't know. There's like this looking. It's more of like looking up to someone, and then I'm like for like guidance and things, and and then I sit back and like I'm looking for like an older brother. Like I'm looking for someone to kind of fill that void, right? Because that's what I had for my older brother. Like he was someone I looked up to, someone I could talk to about anything and like shoot the shit, and he would tell it how it was. Like, you think I fucking tell it how it is, dude?
More than you,
dude. He was hardcore, for sure.
She says whatever the hell's on his mind.
I mean, yeah, I got a lot of that stuff from him, but no, he was.
Yeah, I mean,
he was serious.
You're on a strong level of just saying whatever the hell's on your mind, which is what I love about you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. But no, I mean, he was definitely one of those people, for sure. But yeah, I feel like with certain relationships, like I'll look up to people in a certain way, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting.
What makes you think about like today, or makes you think about unraveling more? Like, was that a recent thought, or is it something you've thought about going back to a therapist as you got older?
That's something probably in the last like 5 to 10 years I've just thought about. I mean, I dated a girl out here for 4 or 5 years, and she would always say that to me too. She's like, you need to like, I think she could just sense within me that I had demons or whatever that needed to kind of be settled.
You think it was a sense, or she ever kind of break it down for you, or try to?
She never broke it down for me. I don't think she could articulate in those terms. I don't know if she has. Do
you not express yourself?
Definitely not.
Isn't that ironic that you talk so much shit and you just say whatever's in your mind, but when it comes to like
love, you're getting nothing.
Yeah.
You get nothing. Seriously. It's true. Yeah. It's contradictory or whatever. It's so weird. Yeah. Well, love, you get nothing.
Are you affectionate?
No.
Are you like, you're not like a very touchy-feely guy?
No. Not with someone who, someone that I care about.
Okay. Someone you care about, you are touchy-feely.
No. The opposite.
Someone you care about, you're not touchy-feely. You are touchy-feely. Sorry. What are we talking? How is it?
Like,
how are you?
I would feel, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, if I'm in a relationship with someone, I'm definitely not touchy-feely. I don't know. I'm touchy-feely in the physical sense, but emotional sense, not.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
That's where I'm trying to draw the line.
Yeah.
So like, it's more of just like emotionally open, like, and being there. Like, I've never cried in front of a girlfriend. Like, I don't like to like be the one who says I love you. Like, I'm not the one who's gonna be emotional. Like, I'm not gonna be emotionally there, like available in those terms.
I mean, you were so young at 15. Do you remember Dan pre-15?
A little bit, but
I don't know if you can really correlate pre-15 to like how you are now, but
it's so hard. Yeah.
So
There's
hard.
also too, I don't know if you have this issue because your dad passed away when, how old were you?
I was 12.
So you were a little bit younger than me.
Similar.
But like my memory is like shot.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And I brought this up several times recently and on the podcast. I don't know if that's being a kid thing and it's been so long.
I don't think so.
Or it's just straight up a defense mechanism.
I think it's trauma. I think it's literally just like you're so fucking out of it and you don't realize it, that your brain is just like kind of coasting you through life and your memories just aren't there.
Yeah, that's the consistent message I'm hearing from many people that have lost someone, probably specifically when you're younger, because maybe both. I guess you give it enough time if you're older. But my last episode I just had with my buddy Garrett, he was talking about, he shared some really powerful shit about a traumatic experience he went through and nothing to do with death.
Mm-hmm.
Total curveball, didn't see it coming, and it was pretty intense. I mean, he explains it much more upbeat, but it was an intense experience, and he didn't even know it happened until like 20 years later.
Well, yeah, that's very common. They say, I mean, that's in the moment memory loss where like people get raped or sexually
exactly.
abused.
That was
like, and they don't even,
thing.
they'll just like, it never happened. And then all of a sudden they see a therapist and they're like, I was raped when I was 4 years old. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Like, and they're like, it's like, yeah.
Like, what the it's like a glitch in the system.
Well, they do that. Again, goes back to that's just self-defense. That's like this traumatic experience. We're going to erase some of your memory.
Yeah.
Even though it's still going to affect you for the rest of your life.
It's
going to take years of therapy to get it out of yourself. But it's just like a 6-year-old can't remember that they were fucking molested. Like they cannot go through life like that. 6 years old, 7 years old. Like imagine you're 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old. That has to be forgotten. You're at such an early stage of like development.
Yeah.
You can't be in 4th grade remembering that you were sexually molested when you were in 2nd grade.
Yeah, you're not mature enough to release it either.
Just I mean, dude, that is like serious trauma. Like you were fucked.
Yeah.
So the only way you can survive that is if they erase it from your memory. I remember when I say they, I mean your fucking yourself, like your defense, whatever's in there, your consciousness.
Yeah, it's just like a temporary hold. It's like a temporary. We're gonna put this on hold, and hopefully you figure this out later. Otherwise, it's gonna mess you up the entire life. That I didn't realize. That's the crazy part. It's like we're so affected by things that we don't even realize. So even if like you didn't lose your brother, you probably have shit that you have to unravel. You don't even realize that aren't necessarily as traumatic.
Yeah.
But it's just so ironic again that the defense mechanism is to forget it, yet that defense mechanism is deteriorating you at the same time.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know, man.
So you're gonna unravel shit? Do you ever bring it up like this? Like we're talking right now? Does it come up conversationally?
It's hard. Who wants to talk about this?
I mean, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm Dan. My brother died when I was 15.
That's what I'm saying though. But like, who wants to talk about this? Not even like, even if someone like, let's say one of our friends that we know wanted to like, hey, you know what? I kind of want to talk to Dan about his brother passing away.
Well, so, I mean, anyway,
but I'm saying there's zero chance they feel like I want to talk about it. You know what I mean? It's such like a you don't know what the other person's feeling situation. So it's like, I don't want to bring that up if he doesn't want to talk about that.
And that's the thing. I truly believe that more people want to talk about it. And deep down, I think people know they should talk about it.
Right.
But it's just that, like, also if you don't have someone that I guess it's just the question of, do you want to talk about it? It's hard. It's easier to ignore than do it.
Yeah. I mean, I've dated girls long term and never talked to them about it. I mean, it's probably because I didn't bring it up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think that's most of it. I think most people, especially if someone, even if they know about it, same effect to me. If people either don't know about it, I'm like, same thing. I'm not going to want to say, hey, I'm Dave. My dad died. Like, it doesn't come out like that.
Also, it's a conversation. It's like, all right, once you have I don't know, like how much, like, what do you talk about? Like,
I mean, it's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, but this is like an interview process. Like to have a natural conversation like this is not as
I guess
easy.
In a setting where you're not setting time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think
that's why therapy is important too, because it's the setting.
It forces you to do it.
Yeah, and hopefully you have a good therapist who could actually like dig deep enough to be like, this is why you feel this way, or this is why you blah blah blah.
I wonder. Relationships is the easy one, but I just commitment in general. But like it's on the surface. I think. I mean, I feel like I've been so rational and really thought about my dad's death so much that I'm like, how does this affect my relationships? Like, I get it. My dad died. I've lived with it. I'm okay.
At what point did you accept that your dad died?
September 17th, 2000. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It was kind of, I can't name it. I can't pinpoint like eureka. It was just
like, I want to know your story, to be honest with you. I've never even heard
your story.
We've
never even spoke about it. I guess I should be doing an episode about me one day, so we don't have to get too redundant.
That would make a little sense.
A
show called Dead Talks.
And not tell my story?
Yeah.
It kind of comes up anecdotally, but yeah, I got to do an episode where someone interviews me. But anyway, I don't know. I think at some point I just got comfortable with it. Maybe my mom pried it because I related to you earlier because I was inward. I was very inward where I just kept shit in. I didn't express myself.
Yeah.
And I guess
think that's the most normal
defense. I would think so. Like, yeah, most people aren't. Like my older sister, Jacqueline, bless her heart, she wears her heart on her sleeve and you know how she's feeling, which is amazing. Like she's much more outward and she'll tell you how she feels, which is very courageous if you ask me. Like, to do what you're doing is courageous. To talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this fucking podcast. But I don't know I don't know how many years it took. Like it's 20 years later, I'm still realizing now, it took me 20 years to realize that I still need to dig shit up. Like on the surface, when I tell people like, yeah, I'm good. I miss my dad and I feel good. I'm living a good life. I'm very blessed to have the life that I have. when I really think about it, and the more I'm learning, it's just about, trauma and brain and all this shit that I've been reading up on. It's like, there's some shit that is definitely in me. And I'd always felt it. It was like, I've had this like feeling inside that there's just something there that like needs to be released. And I don't know, I can't pinpoint it, even though in my head, I'm like, it's probably something with my dad, but I don't know what exactly it does to me, because I only know me as me.
Yeah. And well, that's the other thing too. It becomes a part of your identity, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's part of my identity. So it just feels like me, and it's like, this is how I am. But I know more than ever at this point in my life that, I don't get, people always say it's, you're 35, 40, whatever it is, you can't change. You are who you are.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that at all. I think it's harder to crack the shell. Like, I think you get more and more embedded as the person you are, and it might only become harder. But the fact that you can't change your these paradigms and the things you think and your beliefs, I think it's bullshit. I think that's almost like a comfort thing too. Like, oh, this is how I am. I'm just going to keep it like this. It takes effort to change,
for sure,
and
to grow, change. Yeah, it all takes effort.
I mean, I think there's shit I still need to unravel. That's why I was curious when I asked you, when you said that earlier, that you have shit that you need to unravel. I was just kind of curious as to why you think that. And you mentioned your girlfriend's kind of set up. It's just you had a feeling. What do you feel? Is it a feeling?
No, I mean,
like a weight.
I mean, I don't know. There's different levels to it. One, I've also had stomach issues ever since my brother died. So it's like,
Since then, yeah?
Yeah. So it's like, that's like, is this just trauma transforming itself into?
Very much so. I'm not diagnosing you, but like that's
I mean, yeah.
That's how it works.
It just seems super obvious. It's like, why would your stomach all of a sudden start to give you issues after your brother passes away?
I had an episode with Jessie Kavanaugh, and she mentioned, she explained that. She was like, how stress and trauma and certain issues literally store themselves in certain parts of your body. She's
right,
like,
exactly.
Like, and she was like, oh, I was like, is it just the shoulder shaft from baseball or something? She's like, well, yeah, it could be, but it also could be you stored so X, Y, and Z for whatever reason, which I guess that's where acupuncture, I don't know if that, I can't talk about acupuncture. I have no idea anything about it.
But I think there's part of acupuncture then also like, just like holistic healing in general, like, energy
stored in certain places.
Was it the chakras?
The chakras.
Yeah, like all that stuff, like releasing energy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting you noticed that. Like, how soon after, are you saying?
Like, honestly, I don't remember. It's so weird because like I can't remember if I had the stomach issues before or after, but it was in that year that I started having stomach issues. And then after my brother passed away, it was like it was it. Like I've never been the same since.
I mean, if I was a betting man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, come on, obviously, right? But like, do I go see a therapist and like all of a sudden like, I'm like, oh, my stomach's better? I don't know.
That'd be fucking interesting.
It would be, right? If that was I have a theory that my stomach issues are anxiety based, and the anxiety is probably from the trauma from then, dealing with the anxiety of losing my brother, having my mother go through this, blah, 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 all that stuff. Like, it's kind of just compounded itself into anxiety.
Yeah, especially when you don't release it.
Yeah, well, I release it, but not in the way you want to.
I have a couple ideas how you might release it, but I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I thought you might have released it earlier, to be honest.
I think I did. But, dude, it's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like, what was her name? Jessica?
Who are we talking about?
You said the girl who was on who said.
Oh, Jessie, yeah.
Jessie, yeah. Like, you just, like, these things store themselves inside you, right? Yeah. Like,
and there's so many different schools of thought of how to release it. Like you said, do you go to a therapist as just like traditional and blah, blah, blah? Would that work? Do you go to a, unorthodox, unconventional energy healer? Yeah. I don't know.
DMT? I don't know.
DMT. I brought that up as well early in episodes. I had a DMT experience that I feel like related to what I also said earlier, that I have a feeling that I just need something released. I don't know what it is.
That's 100% what it was.
And I felt, I felt this like in the middle of the, do you call it a trip?
I guess, yeah. DMT trip.
It was a trip, definitely. Yeah. It's definitely something. And I felt this buildup while I was in that state. Felt it building and building and building. And the woman that was putting it on for me, she like pushed on my chest. As soon as she like saw me, I guess, I don't know, my face or whatever. She saw my face kind of cringing maybe, pushed on my chest. And that energy just got completely released. It was like tears flew out. I wasn't sobbing. I was just a flow of tears. I felt like it was burning the sides of my face. Just tears flowing down my face. And I was just like a release. And at the end, after I kind of settled, she gave me a second. I asked her, I was like, what the hell was that? And she's like, I don't know. It could have been from last week's stress. It could have been from a childhood. It could have been anything.
But you don't cry, right?
Not often. Occasionally I'll like tear up. Like in certain moments when I think about things, I'm kind of intentionally, like on an anniversary and shit, like I almost try to pull
like,
it
when was
out.
the last time you cried and like you literally couldn't control that, like tears were coming down your face?
Uncontrollable cry, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've had like tears.
Yeah. Like that probably was like a release of you just like holding back that.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think if I do DMT, I've never done it, but like I'll just cry the whole time.
It's the release of crying is pretty powerful.
I would imagine.
And just societally, as a man, especially, it's like we're not.
Dude, we never cried. Like women cry once a month. Seriously, like I've talked to women. They're like, yeah, I cry like once a month. I'm like, dude, I haven't cried in 15 years. Like I didn't even cry at my brother's funeral. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it says a lot. Does it actually?
I think so. I don't know.
Some people just don't cry, like physically. Maybe it's about. I don't know.
No, I think we just suppress ourselves from crying.
That's exactly what we do. I mean, you build a wall around yourself.
I did want to ask you this because it just came up. Do you ever have dreams about your dad?
Yes.
How are those?
Recently, occasionally, I've had weird dreams. I feel
like, yeah. I'll let you talk. But
do you have some dreams?
I've had dreams about my brother since he's passed away. Yeah, but they're fucking weird, man. Like they're not. I don't know. It's just like I don't know how yours are. That's what I was wondering. Because I've never talked to anyone about that.
Yeah, I think people would either write. I don't know. There's two different schools of thought as well. It's like dreams are just fucking coincidence and bullshit, or
right.
I personally think they mean a lot, in my opinion.
I do too. I think
there's plenty of studies on it too. I've had dreams. One really specific one. I remember I wrote it down a while back. This one was weird. I might be butchering it now. I have to refer back to my notes. But I remember I was in the kitchen of my original house years after I left that house. We left that house.
Yeah.
And I was in the kitchen, and then I was with my mom, and then my dad walked in like a zombie. He was like, it was like a shell of him. He was like stone cold, almost like pale, just slowly walking towards me, like very slowly from the living room, I believe. And I was backing into the kitchen, and my dad just like, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the warmth that I normally feel with my dad. And he would just walk towards me slowly. And I was trying to like protect my mom. I was trying to protect my mom from him coming too close. And I remember I pulled out like a knife from the drawer, and it would end up being like a sword. It was like a long ass knife, which didn't seem normal. And I pulled it out. I was like, Dad, I was like, step back, like stay away, I'm going to swing at you. And I swung, like shoo him off. And he like kept coming closer, and I swung one more time, and I cut him in the cheek, and like he turned his head to the left, and I get a big gash on his face, and like slowly looks at me like a zombie, and then that's all I remember.
That's interesting. So your dad was like a zombie.
My dad was a zombie, and I slashed him across the face with a sword to protect my mom. But I'm like, then I look back, and I'm like, I'm not in my head. I'm like, my dad was a good dad. He never had any.
No, you're protecting your mom from your dad's death.
Right. That's the easiest synopsis from it.
Yeah.
But it's just a funky way of that's happening.
Did you protect your mom from your dad's death? After the fact, did you take on a lot of responsibilities, or were you like emotionally kind of?
You have to ask my mom. That's because it's part of the things I don't remember.
You don't remember,
I don't remember a lot of the ways
you were
I
young,
handled
12.
it.
Shit, that's young.
You know what I mean? So it's like my mom definitely took a brunt of it. She handled things in a certain way that definitely covered us up, but she also hid stuff from us based on like she hid her feelings from us. It was like
I mean,
she hid her feelings from us.
She was protecting you.
I don't know, but dreams definitely. I try. Maybe I don't dream as much because sometimes I try too hard to dream about my dad because I want to see him. I want him to come to my dreams, and it's like I think that's one of the only outlets I have to potentially communicate with him.
You should write in a journal about him before you go to sleep.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way to do it, as opposed to just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So dreams?
Yeah, I have like these two recurring dreams, I think, but like the main one is like I'm always at my old house that I grew up in, of course, right? Like you're just always in that old house that you grew up in, your safe place or whatever it is.
Safe place, yeah.
And it's always the same situation. Like he's usually in his old room. Like he had this room it was a room that we turned our garage into like a converted room. It was like we called it the dungeon. Like my friends,
the dungeon.
My dungeons, like my friends like nicknamed it the dungeon. Like you just knew like don't go to the fucking dungeon.
Okay. Just not a safe place.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, like I always like in the dream, like I go into his room or something, and like there's this feeling of like, oh my God, like David's like home. Like I haven't seen him in such a long time. Like I thought he was dead. I thought he was gone. Like how is he here? Like this is like, it's like this really emotional, like this isn't like, I was never supposed to see you again type of situation. Like you feel it in the dream. And like, I'm always trying to like wake him up or like get him to talk. And he like won't talk. He won't wake up. Like he's just not responsive. He never says anything. Or he'll like, if he does get up, like sometimes in the dream, he'll get up, he'll walk around. And like there's always this like trying to get him to like don't do drugs, like you're back home now, like you're safe, like you were just off for a long time doing drugs, like being on heroin, whatever. Like this is like it's weird. It's like in the dream that you feel these things, but like there's no actual dialogue.
Right.
And like the dreams could like last a long time where it's like like it seems like days go on and you're just like you're safe here, like blah blah blah, and it's just like super fucking heavy and weird, man. Like it's fucked up. It's
What's
like
your speculation?
I don't know, dude. Like I wake up and I'm just like ugh, like I don't even feel good. Like
God.
This fucking sucks
Well,
because I wake up and he's dead, right? Like it's
right.
like all right, like that was a dream, and then you're just like the dream itself, like it's just like
it's
just unsatisfying. Yeah, it's like it's not like I'm talking with. It's not like we're fucking having a good time playing Call of Duty with your dead brother. Like no, it's like kind of like your dream. Like you're fucking fighting your zombie dad, right? Like that's not fun.
Zombie Dad sounds like a new like independent horror film.
I'm sure it's already been made.
Probably.
But like yeah, I'm like trying to communicate with this brother who's been gone forever and trying to like convince him not to fucking basically kill himself, again or whatever. I don't know. It's like very weird. It's like I have them like probably once or twice a year. I'm just like, ugh.
Similar vibe?
They're always very dark, yeah. Maybe I've had one or two that were good that I don't really remember, but like they're always like back home, pre his death, like what the world could have been. Sometimes I think like maybe that's, I don't know, my brain like working out like, hey, like he could have stayed alive, but it would have been fucking off in and out of rehabs, there's I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, dreams are confusing because a lot of things I've read, it's like I can't. It seems very complicated, and like its meaning. And one of the things I read as to why they're so complicated and so unconventional and almost like puzzle pieces, which makes good sense. It's kind of like Inception,
for sure,
where they have to be. If they were like, if it was too much like reality, how the hell would you take you won't be able to tell the difference. So it's almost like your mind convolutes it and makes it abstract to like, okay, this is a dream, this is reality type shit. So it's like when you interpret dreams, like the one about my dad, that seemed pretty straightforward as a meaning, I think. But then again, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And it seems as if yours, I'm just trying to get all shrinky on you.
Yeah. Do it, man. It's cheaper than fucking actually seeing one.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also going to be more expensive if I'm fucking you up more because I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I feel like the simplest way to think about it was almost as if you're trying to save him, as if you maybe felt
like I could have saved him, maybe
like you weren't there.
That's possible.
But I mean, obviously, in reality, it's like.
Well, yeah, that's one thing I'm happy about, which I'm sure you don't deal with at all too, obviously, because of the way your father passed away. It's like I don't have guilt.
Yeah, I get that.
My parents have fucking guilt, dude.
Yeah, from
obvious.
From a parental standpoint, that's why that's just totally different devastation.
Yeah, especially because like, oh, my son was so unhappy that he needed to resort to doing like hard drugs. Obviously, that's not a good thing for a parent, It's like because they blame themselves. It's like,
yeah, it's so easy to blame yourself. At the end of the day, obviously, it wasn't their fault. It's just,
well, sometimes it is.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, I'm sure.
I don't know if it was my parents' fault or not, but like, it is what it is, right? You got to deal with it.
Yeah, that's I'm a very it is what it is person, but at the same time, I think it's a very slippery slope.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I think it's important to be like, yes, it is what it is, but that doesn't mean I still don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like for a while I'm very, it is what it is. Next. But that ideology, I think, is very dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes to the suppression and like, but I mean, it seems like I know you're a smart guy, so it seems for someone you're saying that's not very emotionally outward.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean you're not emotionally inward. Like you like don't contemplate shit.
I definitely contemplate shit.
Right. So, but
I'm not going to tell you I love you.
Right. I don't care if you don't love me.
Not you in general, but like just in general. Like,
actually, I was hiding my feelings. I do care if you don't love me. But no, yeah. I think there's also a difference. I think it's very important to be emotionally, intellectual, inwardly, and really contemplate things. But at the same time, it's just like knowledge. People say knowledge is power. It's like, not really. Knowledge is useless unless you do something with it.
Right.
It's knowledge is power with action. So same thing. It's like if you could be inwardly insightful and really consider that shit, but if you don't release it, and I really truly feel it's almost as simple as that. Like it's not simple, but once you get to that point of literally like letting it go is a real feeling.
Yeah.
Whether it's talking about it or like an observation, I don't know, or coming to terms with some shit. I wonder if you held some shit in. I know I did. I do.
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, how do we...
we should see if we can find a Groupon for therapy.
Couples therapy. We should do couples therapy and go in there, but like they think we're a couple, and then we just start talking about our family deaths.
Right. Like, wait, what?
I don't know. He's just my homie. We don't kiss or anything. So how you today? Have you been thinking about it more as you've gotten older? Because you said in general, like you said the opposite. You said now this it's been so long, you don't necessarily think about your brother as often.
Yeah, I don't think about my brother as often.
But it did seem like in the last few years you've been considering talking to someone. So is that just two separate issues, you think?
Yeah.
Just like so. In general, just your overall being.
Yeah.
Are you religious? You're not religious.
No.
Do you believe in something?
No. I think this was an accident.
Isn't that nihilism?
Is that what it is?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference between that and atheism?
That's a good question. We were just speaking about this last episode. My buddy called himself an optimistic nihilist. Nihilist or nihilist?
Sometimes I tell people I believe in science, and they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Big Bang, baby. Like,
yeah, but science...
Is that not science?
That is science, yes, but I don't think science gives you a meaning behind it. Like, I think science defines like the logistics of that shit that's happened, but doesn't like give meaning to it. Does it?
Is science supposed to give meaning to things?
No, I don't think it does. That's my point.
Yeah.
So like,
that's my point.
Like, what if like God made the Big Bang, but Big Bang says, okay, this chemical, that shit created that gas, that blew up, that's science. But then there's like, what?
God created the Big Bang. Like you're saying that's the purpose, that's the meaning. That's the meaning. I don't know. But there's a greater power that cares that we're here.
I think nihilism is like, there's no meaning to anything. You're just a blip on the radar. It's just, we're not like,
yeah, then I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, we're like we're human beings are just narcissistic. We think that we matter. We don't matter. Like an ant on the floor doesn't matter.
Why do you think
a bird in the sky doesn't matter.
Are you certain about that? Or that's what you believe?
That's just what I believe. Like I think.
I can't wait till you die and find out you were like you were the most important thing ever.
That'd be great. I mean, obviously, I would love that. I'd love to go see my brother and like fucking go to like strip clubs in heaven or whatever the hell is going on up there. I don't believe that's a possible. I mean, that'd be amazing. I shouldn't say I don't believe that's possible because I don't want to like jinx myself.
Yeah.
But
strip clubs in heaven.
But yeah, it just seems so narcissistic to be like, we matter. Like, why do we matter?
I think. I wonder.
Is it nothing? Like, really, dude? We matter? No, I don't fucking believe that for 1 second.
But then when you dumb it down, it's interesting because. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it's interesting. When you dumb it down, just besides, outside of our atmosphere, just like Earth alone, there are so many people. So it's hard. We're all constantly just searching for meaning and constantly searching for like why we're here.
Right.
Besides everyone else that just passed away over the billions of years, millions of years, whatever the hell it's been, it's hard to almost say you have a lot of meaning just on Earth alone today. You know, there's so many people.
We don't. That's the point.
It's crazy.
Like we don't matter is the point. The whole point. And I felt this way before my brother died, and before I was at an older age. Like I was supposed to be bar mitzvah with the rest of my family, who were all bar mitzvah, and I was like, I don't fucking even believe in any of this stuff. Like, why am I going to go? You
said this at 13?
Yeah, dude. Like 12. Yeah. I was like, I don't believe any of this stuff. Like I really had this like strong viewpoint. I don't know. I was watching way too much HBO as a kid.
Is that what it was? You blame it on HBO?
Yeah, like HBO and like
what shows? Like
everything, dude.
Like Sopranos?
Sopranos since day one, Oz since day one, Sex and the City. Like I was watching that stuff in middle school.
Are those all like
no, that's not
shows?
even why. That's not the part of HBO. I was watching like documentaries, like Hookers in Maryland. Like, dude, HBO was gnarly in the 90s. Like
HBO is what HBO used to have like Taxi Cab Confessionals, which is pretty nuts.
I used to watch that. Real Sex was huge.
Real Sex was another one. That was a weird vibe. I definitely watched that when I was a kid, which is a pretty weird show to watch as a young kid.
For sure, but my family in general is just super open minded. So to put that stuff on top of it, like I was just super. I don't know, like I thought outside the box at a very young age, very very young age.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think nothing has meaning, so fuck it.
Yeah, but the thing is, people will argue, then what's the point of living? Well, you have to make meaning of what you have here on the earth. Like that, it's no one else's fucking job. Like if I want to sit here and enjoy life, that's up to me. If I want to fucking jump out of a window, that's up to me. But like that's up to you to enjoy it. Like because regardless, they don't matter. They don't. Like, dude, we nuked fucking Hiroshima. Like people died, and like, how do you make meaning of that? You know what I mean?
That's really
like what is going on in Africa right now that's been going on there for the last 100 years? Like how do you make meaning of that? We're just so narcissistic. We think it fucking matters, especially in like Western civilization.
Ready? Wait.
Nihilism.
It's nihilism.
Yeah,
that's what you are. I think it's a little harsh, but nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles and the belief that life is meaningless.
the thing is, there is morality still out that it should exist. You should be a good person because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's the divide of it. It's like, because you can, once again, same, you should talk to my buddy Garrett. He brought this up yesterday. He's an optimistic nihilist where he says, as a nihilist, I guess you can, if you want to jump off a building, that's your prerogative. You do whatever you want. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Right.
But I don't know if that means it sounds like that definition is the absence of morality. But as humans, we do have that innate, unless you're a psychotic person, like
Right.
chemically imbalanced, perhaps, you don't have those innate human feelings. It's tough to be a nihilist and not be moral. But then at the same time, it's like those feelings naturally have emotions. So I think that's what makes it questionable to me is why do we feel the way we feel? Why do we feel these things? Besides, like, I'm not talking about pain. I'm talking like physical pain. Like, why do we feel that?
Because we have consciousness, right? It's because we're conscious and other animals aren't. Because other animals don't really feel much. I mean,
no, the animal kingdom's gnarly,
right? They just kill or be killed. So
that's it. That's kind of what we do.
What makes us different is like we actually can think and conversate and communicate.
I choose not to stab you.
But why do you choose not to stab me? Because it's against the law or because you actually don't, you know what I mean? Like,
both.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to dig deep into that shit.
Man, that'd be a shame if this is all for nothing.
Well, I mean, I'll say I'm 90% nihilist or whatever, but like, there's 10% of me that's like, yeah, maybe there is this, like, our souls move on, we live multiple lives, maybe we travel through the universe and we jump from fucking body to body or organism to organism, right? Like I could be a tree in some planet a trillion miles away, and you just constantly are just jumping from life form to life form when you die, whatever. And I don't know, maybe there's some crazy meaning behind that, and it is what it is. But if that doesn't exist, then yeah, I just believe this is all like, we're just lucky to be here, and that's it. It is what it is.
Do you believe in ghosts and like that spirit shit?
It's weird because I kind of do.
That's kind of contradictory.
It is. But I think that plays more into like us having souls and like just maybe there's different dimensions where souls pass from one dimension to another and you pass from planet to planet, universe to universe. Like,
when does it end? You know what I mean? Like, when does it all end? Like, how many dimensions we're going to go to? We're going to get bored.
Well, it's either, it's infinite no matter what, right? So I don't know. Like, there's, whether you agree with it or not, it's either you're dead forever or you're alive forever, right? So it's infinite regardless.
Yeah, it's like, what does alive mean? Is alive
I think consciousness is more of like what alive is, I guess. I don't know. I mean, is a plant conscious? I mean, it breathes, it eats.
Oh man, it just what's next?
Not conscious, but like, you know.
Death is just I believe it's just a transition. Like death is scary. I'm more scared of like the way I'm gonna die more than dying.
Yeah.
And then I'm secondarily concerned about after. It's like, what the hell? Like, we just did all this it's been 31 years I've been doing this. Like, shit. How much longer do I have to do something else?
Yeah, scary. I just think of it like this. Like, it's like when you're scared to do anything, right? But like a lot of people do it, and you're like, if they could do it, I could do it. Like, death is like, dude, everyone's done it. Like, everyone before me has fucking done it. My grandpa's done it. My grandma's done it. My brother did it. Your dad did it. Like, I could fucking do it, man. Like, I have no fucking choice. Like, just do it. Everyone else is doing it.
The cool kids are doing it.
But it's true. It's like, dude, 1 trillion people have died before us. Like, it is what it is. Like, unless you're like Elon Musk and you're like, all right, well, we're going to figure out a way to live forever. We're going to start combining us to computers, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the next level, singularity or whatever.
Yeah, Neuralink is pretty close, he says.
I don't know, dude. Watch the Singularity documentary. That shit's gnarly. Like,
I never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of big, like in the 2009, 10, 11.
Talking about Neuralink?
I don't know what Neuralink is exactly. I'm just like guessing that it's probably...
No, Neuralink is like I think I'm pretty sure, from my understanding, it's like a chip. Pretty much
that's what I figured it was.
And then we talk about, apparently what Elon was saying, it would cure everything. Like any like, and it's just put in your brain and it wires something else, and like you don't have...
It's singularity theory, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically, they've been, you know, what's the word? Guessing that this is going to happen. What's like...
Prediction?
Yeah, they're predicting that this is going to happen. Like, it's, if you're a fucking scientist who studies this stuff, like, it's not hard to see where technology is going, and like combining our brain with technology and our bodies with technology.
Look at movies.
In the next 100 years, or next 1,000 years, it's inevitable, right? Like how fast things are already going, you know, progressing.
Yeah, like I said, Hollywood movies. There's so many movies that are like, you're seeing things that are kind of real now.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Skynet's like 10 years away.
Skynet?
Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I mean, but that's the other thing. Like, I don't know. The singularity theory actually is interesting because I think it's one of the theories of it is that like humans evolved from apes, right? And then like we're gonna evolve into the next species like that we don't know exists, but it's basically just like a hybrid human computer. And like our purpose,
Terminator.
not even necessarily Terminator, like even like way lesser of like not even walking around at some point, you know, like we're literally just computers that kind of.
I think
whatever.
that's Neuralink. I think Neuralink is like it's almost transmitting messages. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't Google this, guys. If you're listening, I don't know anything about Neuralink. I just know it's advanced.
But yeah, I mean, is that a life you want to live? Do you want to live forever in a computer? Do you want to upload your consciousness into a computer? I mean, there's already theories that this is a simulation, right? Like
what the hell does that even mean? Like we're an Xbox?
Yeah, literally. Like there's an advanced species that created an advanced
Westworld?
Yeah. I mean, I think no, Westworld's a different version of that, but yeah.
Westworld is created like an experience.
Like they actually have physical robots in Westworld.
Yeah.
Whereas like the theory of this being a simulation is like we literally don't exist. Like we're just in a program and being told how to, you know, blah blah blah.
Well, the way our body and brains operate is it's essentially a computer.
Yeah,
it's very similar to a computer.
And the universe. If you look at the way the universe operates, they say the neurons between our brain, like when our brains like when it speaks to each other, it's the same as like I don't know stars or something like the same fucking. I could be totally wrong about that, but I've heard there's like comparisons between the way the brain works and like actually like the universe.
That's bizarre.
But it isn't. It makes sense.
I mean,
if we all came from the Big Bang, it makes sense.
We're all made up of that shit. We're all made up of the same. Clearly, we're made up of the same shit because we're here.
And when you do like DMT and all this shit, you never go to see fucking God. You ever notice that? Like I've never done it, but you hear people talk about it. It's like you go into the universe.
It is the universe. I've had a similar experience where it was in the space. I was in space.
That's like okay, that makes sense.
My buddy Salim, what's up? Hope you're listening. He had a deep experience with DMT. He was like, right, told me he was riding a dragon, and he saw some goddess figure, and I don't know the name. It was a goddess figure that apparently showed up multiple times. That's the thing that makes me consider psychedelics in those situations. There's a lot of repetitive stories of seeing the same god, like seeing a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
I heard one story of ayahuasca. Once again, it's a story. Who knows? But they all saw the same thing. It's like one thing to have 7, 10, 12 different trips.
Everyone in the same group saw the same thing.
Yeah, like that's
interesting.
That's questionable.
Yeah, that is
on many levels. And he said he saw some goddess figure, and she said, "Are you looking for someone or something like that?" And she goes, "All you ever needed was yourself." And while he's riding a dragon, he took that and ran with it. So it's like, is that just a gnarly trip in your own brain and you're just tricking yourself, but it does have meaning because we have these deeper subconscious levels that do have truth to it.
Right.
Or is it really going somewhere else?
Or would Freud just say that's like his mother?
Exactly. it's just his mother. That's my mom in the dragon life.
No, I mean, who do we look up to more than anyone as kids, as infants?
Yeah, exactly. Mothers and parents.
Mothers and dads. Like, you don't lose that until you get a little older and you're like, oh, fuck you, mom, fuck you, dad.
Yeah.
But like, when you're a kid, like, watch a fucking 5-year-old with his mom.
Yeah.
Like, they're obsessed, you know?
That's your God.
That's your God. That's your everything. And that's why we hold those like emotions in towards our parents if later in life we're not happy with ourselves. This is totally, you know, sidetracking, but like there's a lot of hate towards your parents when you get older because you blame them for like maybe you not being happy with yourself because they were supposed to, you know, make you a better person. That was their job. How could they have, you know?
Yeah, nature versus nurture. And then it goes back to the guilt that parents can potentially feel because like they deep down know that too.
Well, it's just unrealistic expectations is really what it is because there's too many factors that kind of...
Too many factors. At the end of the day, we're all experimenting and we think we know, but we have no idea.
Exactly.
Well, how do you feel about it?
Good.
Yeah? You seem loose.
Feel a little loose.
Feel a little loose?
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure, man.
I don't know if you have any last thoughts or hurrah.
I got nothing.
That's cool. I like it. Yeah, Dan's wearing the first guest ever to wear my Dead Talk shirt. Your chesticles look strong.
Do they?
Yeah, look great.
I did some push-ups today.
Nice. We'll bounce them out as we close this out. All right, if you stayed to the end, guys. Dan, thank you so much for being here, my man.
My pleasure.
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. If you made it this far, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff so I can get more people to watch my podcast. All right, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.